Ailandas, thank you for coming on here today, man.
Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate your time and I'm very happy to have this conversation with you.
Of course. So, yeah, getting this thing started and getting right into it, would you be able to give us a little bit about who you are, what you do, where you come from, and anything else that you want to get into? And then we can go from there.
Of course, of course. So, like you said, my name is Ailandas. I am originally from Lithuania and right now I live in the UK. I am a guide, a mindset and spirituality guide. Um, I basically help people find the spirituality path and kind of get on the right path of self-discovery and kind of find what I guess the purpose of life is, because I'm pretty sure you know the chatter in your mind that kind of fluffs the day to day with kind of your ego looking at things and kind of like filtering it down and spewing the information completely different to what it actually is, because
Yeah.
consciousness is instantly aware of everything. So I kind of help people get rid of that fluff, guide them towards the right path. Um, Not by giving goals or anything like that, no purpose or anything like that, but because that engages your mind. I like to call myself as a signpost for people.
I
I
like
like that
that.
expression. I like that expression. I read it in The Power of Now. So I
Mm,
try to be a signpost for people to help them guide towards mindfulness and spirituality. Um, and yeah, I mean, I haven't. It took me a while to get to that point because I've always wanted to help people. I always knew that I wanted to help people. Um, but it took me a very long time to figure out what I wanted to do. Um, I've been a coach before, and I've tried coaching people to be productive, to build good habits, to become a better athlete. Because I'm a ex freestyle wrestler myself. I've done it for about 14 years. So I tried tried coaching people in many ways, but I never got that fulfillment because I felt like there was something missing. I felt like it wasn't the right way to help people. It wasn't necessarily lack of fulfillment, but it just didn't feel right. It just didn't feel like the right calling. And
yeah.
then because of my past, I've been a drug addict for a while. I've had loads of debt, loads of misfortune in my life that made me kind of rethink the way I approach things. And I saw how my dad's life changed through meditation. I'm not going to go into detail about his life, but it completely and utterly changed his life. And I thought it's not going to hurt if I try. All it is really sitting quietly for 10 minutes, right? It's not going to hurt. And then after trying that, it was yeah, the rest is history, really. That's how I got here.
Mm,
That's how I got to this kind of work to be a guide and a signpost for people to become more spiritual. Um, yeah, that's pretty much how I got here.
awesome. Now, how would you explain what meditation has done for you or showed you?
So it is very difficult to explain what meditation does unless you experience it yourself or
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
somebody else, or you can see somebody else being transformed by it. The reason why it's difficult to explain, I believe, is because to tell somebody that sitting there for sometimes even hours, depending on how advanced you are, sitting there for hours doing nothing can be absolutely profound and life changing. People are going to think you're crazy. How can you sit there for such long periods of time? I don't personally sit for hours, but I do an hour meditation every single day, split over 2 sessions. But um, just to explain to somebody that I sit there in the morning, for example, for 45 minutes straight, just with my eyes closed, being zen and present and in the moment, that it's really good and it's life changing and it had both physical and mental and beyond positive changes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, nobody understands. It's so difficult to explain it to people, and so many people want to try it. So many people want to try it, but when you tell them try meditation, but don't go too deep into it, they're like, okay, I'll try 25 minutes, and then they sit there for 25 minutes and think, oh my God. After like 5 minutes, they're like, when is this gonna end? When is this gonna end? When is the alarm gonna go off so I can stop? They get
Mm.
overwhelmed because it's not easy. We're so used to being constantly
Stimulation.
entertained, stimulation,
Yeah.
yeah, constantly the constant dopamine hit from the social media, the YouTube, whatever, TV, whatever you want to, everywhere we go, there's entertainment. So it kind of allows you to pull back from that. Kind of, it allows you to center yourself and try to slowly grasp what reality is.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of start peeling the layers of your ego and you start seeing deeper and deeper and deeper towards what the actual source is of your energy, of your being, of your existence.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like meditation is an absolutely profound way of getting a glimpse of what that is. And I feel like once you get a glimpse of what it is, both through your being, through your awareness, and then you start seeing changes physically and mentally, it is extremely difficult to go back to how you used to live life, to be completely self centered and ego driven
Yeah.
when all you see and start experiencing is liberation from the ego made lives that we live. So I think meditation is completely profoundly life changing. And that's even an understatement, I think. It's magical.
Yeah.
It's magical.
Truly. It's well said, and it is very difficult to explain because it goes beyond explanation. It goes beyond concept, really, what one is doing or not doing in meditation. There is, it's nothing. And it's not even nothing. It's hard to explain. Like I said, somebody asked me one time, it was actually a Buddhist monk, which is funny. He said, how would you explain what meditation is? And I sat there for a second. I just simply said, I don't know. I'm not going to try and act like I know. So yeah, I kind of hit you with a tough question right off the bat
Yeah.
because it
Yeah.
goes beyond explanation. It goes beyond concept, really, what's going on, if you want to say going on in meditation.
Yeah. It's doing without doing. It's
mm,
becoming nothing to become everything. Kind
mm-hmm.
of. It's
It's undoing.
there. Yeah. It's it's actually becoming a human being as opposed to being a human doing, right? We're
Yeah.
not supposed to be human doings, even though the way society is constructed, we cannot really avoid doing things, and doing things is good if you can be present while you're doing them.
mm-hmm.
Meditation gives you the tool to be present within the moment. So if you can be in a meditative state as you're doing things, you
Oh, yeah.
you won't feel like you need to do them. You will want to do them because
Mm-hmm.
it's just bliss to do anything. You're just happy and joyful at all times.
Yeah. That's the thing, is it may seem like a contradiction. The meditative mindset, as we described it, you're doing nothing, it's undoing, goes beyond explanation. A sort of passiveness to life could come up for one that doesn't know any better. But it's actually quite the contrary. Once you adopt the meditative mindset into your life, there is more power, there's more vigor in your action. I find, at least. It's and it all has to do with not being attached to results. That's sort of like, you find that out as you come along the way. It's
Yeah,
like you become the doing. There is nobody doing anything for any kind of result or to become something or to do something. It is just moment to moment, we do what needs to be done, and that changes on a moment to moment basis, guided by, I find, intuition. Do you find in your day to day action there is like this intuitive guidance that meditation illuminates to you?
yeah. I think I think what happens is I don't remember where I read this, but your your brain and your heart has their own magnetic fields, right? It might have actually been a series that I watched on, is it Gala? I think it's called Gala. it was to do something with meditation, right?
Mm-hmm.
So your brain has a magnetic field and your heart has a magnetic field. And 99% of the people, those magnetic fields, they have their own separate fields, I guess, right? But when you
Mm-hmm.
start meditating, they start resonating and they sync together. Once you
Uh-huh.
sync those fields together, you can start to try and sync your vibration to the vibration of the universe. Because scientifically, if you drill down to the very basis of what everything is made out of, it's particles, right? Particles can be described in two ways. They can either be physical, like we see round things, right? Or they can be described as a wave function, meaning everything that exists, everything that I'm made out of, you're made out of, everything that you see that's made out of those particles, they are all vibrations on a field. That field by science is called the unified field of consciousness. Everything is made out of it. We are but peaks within that field of consciousness. And if you can start syncing your vibrations by syncing your um, uh, the magnetic fields together, if you can start syncing those with the vibration of the universe by simply being present and meditating and getting free, becoming free from your egoic mind, you will start going back to the source, i.e., the unified field of consciousness. And meditation is the first step that you need to take to get to that point, to be able to be more conscious and aware and go back to the source of everything, everything
Mm-hmm.
that exists in a physical form and beyond.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's all about alignment in that way. We
Absolutely.
find the most power, right? The most sovereignty when we give up trying to dictate everything in our life, when we give up trying to be in charge, per se, when we give it up to the unified field, to the universe. That is ironically when we find the most freedom and the most power. We get out of our own way and we get into the way with a capital W.
Yeah,
Yeah, man, it might sound like woo woo, as we said before, to people that don't know any better. Like, what are these two guys talking about? Right? They're gonna lay off the drugs, but no, this is real stuff. This is why I come on here to speak to people like you, almost as like a testament to prove, or not even prove anything. I'm not trying to prove anything, but to show, to illuminate, to be the guidepost, the signpost, as you said, for others that this is real stuff. It's not magic. It might feel like magic at first, but it's actually quite natural.
absolutely. It's literally going back to the source of creation, to the source
Mm-hmm.
of everything. You can call it the universe, creation, you can call it even God. And even if you look at the texts, the religious texts that we have, Catholic, Hinduism, Buddhism, whatever you want to go to, all of them are written by enlightened people. If you read The Power of Now, he makes so many references to the Bible and he explains how they relate to enlightenment being
Mm-hmm.
described within the Bible
Oh, for
and
sure.
other religious texts. That it's the annoying thing is, and I'm probably going to be hated for saying this, but the annoying thing is that people took those texts and they completely flipped them to
Yep.
gain control of the masses, right?
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't the intention of it. And the only text that hasn't ended up with that result, I believe, is Tao Te Tao Te Ching, I think, the Chinese text.
Yeah, Dao De Ching. That's
Tao
pretty
Te Ching,
pure.
yeah,
That's for sure.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's never
There's
ended
no
up
Dao De
being.
Ching cults out there. I don't think.
Well, yeah, I don't think there is. Yeah, I don't think so. Probably partially because it's so difficult to translate, but
Mm,
yeah, it's pure and it's super nice. I'm actually reading it right now, and
mm,
it's really really good. It's super deep, super deep. You can
that's for
literally
sure.
I don't know if you ever read it, but it's just small
Yeah.
paragraphs. I think there's like 81 or so,
Mm-hmm.
and with one paragraph you can literally spend like 15, 20 minutes, if not a whole day, if you wanted to just
Oh
analyze it.
yeah.
It's
Yeah,
it's
man.
it's mega deep. It's mega deep. But yeah, I actually completely forgot what you asked me, so I just
Me too.
started rambling.
We're just riffing here. Yeah.
Yeah,
I actually have a video that I did with a Taoist monk, San King, where we read the Tao Te Ching, and it was his own
yeah,
translation. and it's
Mm.
extremely powerful. He describes it as a magical register, where it's like the words in it are something that will align you. We're talking about alignment here and tuning yourself. He said just by reading the words, reading the incantations, you align to the Tao. You align to the way just by syncing with the word. And touching on the Bible right there, the word became flesh, this sort of synonymous in that meaning.
Yep.
It's all about like syncing up to the meaning that's behind the words. If you find the right words, there is meaning behind the symbol, right? Whether it's in
Yep.
the Bible, the Tao Te Ching, the Upanishads, the Bhagavad Gita, the Quran, it's all in there. Some of it is a little less polluted than others. I would say Eastern philosophy is less
Yeah.
polluted than Western philosophy, but if you know how to look at it all with a keen eye, you'll be able to see it. You'll be able to feel it. I like to say, I said this plenty of times, but I'm going to say it again. The truth is one, and the wise call it by many names.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
That's I like that. That's good.
Yeah, man. It's all in there. Yeah. Let me ask you this one. Do you have any other books that you'd recommend other than the Tao Te Ching?
I've I don't know if you've read The Untethered Soul.
I've heard of it.
Yeah, it's written by Michael Singer, and he heavily leans towards explaining what enlightenment is and mindfulness and spirituality through energy.
Mm,
I highly recommend that because I know a lot of people like The Power of Now because it's quite nice. Eckhart quite nicely explains what it is to be present and to be enlightened and to be within the moment. I
yeah.
think Michael Singer probably does an even better job at it. The examples that he gives, honestly, when I was reading it, at points I was getting goosebumps. Just it was
Mm-hmm.
amazingly written.
The
Um,
transmission, man. There's something about when the
yeah,
words are written right from the right person, you get the download.
yeah, and he just explains it really well. Like we said, it's so difficult to explain with words what it is that you're trying to seek through these practices, but
Mm-hmm.
he explained it so well. He explained it so well. Um, One thing that was quite interesting that he explained, the difference between a conscious awareness and a egoic mind, right? Um, the conscious awareness is instantly aware of anything that we see. So, for example, I'm looking at the computer screen. I'm instantly aware of the computer screen, the whatever's behind it, right? The bookshelves, the books, the lights, the lamp, everything, right? Or all the sensory perceptions make me instantly aware of what's surrounding me. But what the egoic mind does, it takes that information before you're able to become fully conscious of it, it filters it and it spews out the information slightly adjusted so it's comfortable for
Mm-hmm.
your egoic mind, not
Yep.
for your consciousness. So as opposed to seeing the computer screen and just seeing it for what it is, I might be, if the egoic mind filters the information, might be look at it and be like, that's a very small computer screen, as if like it's not good enough, right?
Mm,
It's just what the egoic mind does. It just filters the world around you in a way
yep.
that is comfortable for you based on your prior experiences, emotions that you haven't overcome and dealt with and pushed aside because they're irrelevant, out of your control, events as well. All of that creates what your ego is by building these blocks, a
Mm-hmm.
construct around what you are, yourself, your conscious self, your inner being. And you
Yep.
can never escape unless you start breaking those blocks down. And what's behind those blocks? An endless meadow of sunshine, pure happiness and fulfillment.
Yeah. Amen. Yeah. The ego mind, which is the popular paradigm that most of us live on, that, I mean, personally, I used to live on, still do sometimes, get sucked in. I'm not going to
Yeah,
lie. Right. It's all about filters, as you said. It's all about narratives and stories and fitting your worldview, your view of yourself into some very, very narrow aperture, right? And that only leads to suffering in one way or the other. When you constrict what all of this is, the beauty of the magnificence of the world, the universe, the moment, or yourself, into some little story, into some just menial, no meaning actually. There's probably something in the etymology there, menial, into something with a lack of meaning, um,
Mm.
there only comes suffering from that, I find. When you live in the conscious awareness coming from meditation, true beauty, as you said, the sunshine, the light, even in the darkness, even in the things that don't seem beautiful, that seem shitty, there is that little glimmer of light, of hope, of, I don't know, this sort of benevolence to it all that one can become aware of. And that's a miracle. That's priceless. Like when you can see that, and this is kind of going out there, but this is what the podcast is about. When you can see and still the mind enough from that sense of conscious awareness that you spoke of, you can see that everything is for your greater good. Everything is for you. We are in a good universe, to put it very simply. A benevolent force runs this whole thing. Despite what the world wants to tell you, or the news, or anything on your timeline wants to tell you, despite the nihilism and cynicism of culture, is this benevolent force of love that's guiding all of it, right? And that is priceless, man. Once you touch upon that, that transcends all egotistical stories. All the stories of the ego, they don't mean anything. And as I said, they don't necessarily disappear. We still got to work with the things of the ego, of the life of Gary or Ailandas or whoever's listening. But, and maybe you can attest to this, there is like a transcendence in how we act and how we dance with the stuff of our life, right? It's like you work with it rather than against it. You work with your suffering rather than against it. Do you feel that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think what's important to know is that the universe or creation or God didn't create us with favoritism in mind. The universe is unconditionally supportive, regardless of who you are, where you are, what you do, what you don't do. You're unconditionally supported because we're all one. It's everything is just one. Like there's no separation between any of us. There's no
Mm-hmm.
good, there's no bad. There's just everything just is.
Just
The
here and
good and
now.
the bad. Yeah, the good and the bad comes from your ego, from your
Yeah.
egoic mind.
Mm-hmm.
All the disagreements, all the hate, all the wars come from two egos not agreeing on something. It creates chaos, it
Yeah.
creates pain and suffering. And oftentimes that pain and suffering we avoid because it's this discomfort, it's uncomfortable. And by avoiding, as opposed to accepting it non-judgmentally and letting it be, observing it, and just letting it pass once we're done observing it, because we fight that discomfort causes arguments, causes disagreements, causes you to build shields upon shields to protect your ego from whatever that discomfort is. And it just creates so much stress. Stress is one of the biggest reasons why we get so many illnesses in life.
Mm.
And it's all mind made. So many issues are mind made. I have, since I started meditating very religiously and for a decent amount of time, for the last year I've been meditating an hour every single day religiously. I have not been ill. I have had no injuries. My health's completely fine. Like I've had no problems, and I've been I always used to get cold sores before that. I
Mm.
haven't had cold sores. I've always used to be ill, all kinds of problems, injuries, especially with my background as a freestyle wrestler. I had so many injuries in my life. So many niggles are coming out now since I'm in my 30s now. So many issues, backaches, knee aches,
Yeah.
whatever you want to name, like all of those issues that I don't get them anymore. My
Mm-hmm.
dad was supposed to be on lifelong medication for his kidneys, I believe. He doesn't have to take it anymore just by simply being present and meditating and focusing on being within the moment, being aware of his emotions as opposed to being consumed by them, being aware of that perpetual chatter in his mind as opposed to being consumed by it.
Yeah.
It's becoming. it's like most of the people are tools of the most profound tool in the universe, which is their mind. They are being the tool of their mind as opposed to using the mind as a tool as it was intended.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. A saying that I always like to repeat is it goes from the ego being the master and the higher self, you, however you want to see it, the higher consciousness being the servant, to the higher consciousness being the master and the ego being the servant. And that's a complete 180. That's where you get the mind over matter, as you just spoke of. And
Absolutely.
yeah, truly, life becomes beautiful in many different ways. It's a win win in some regard, right? Because we can recognize that stuff's going to happen to us. As you said, you get backaches, we're getting older, stuff's going to happen to our body. You can handle the stuff of your life that isn't necessarily of your own accord, the stuff that just happens, the karma, we could say, some scars we built up. You can handle that better. And also, from this point of view, you thread a different path that is just naturally better as well um, to just be healthier, I guess you could say, overall. So it's like you know how to handle the stuff that happens to you better, but you also, just from this equanimous mind state, build a better path for yourself naturally. So ideally, the things, the ailments, the sicknesses, the injuries don't happen. So we can recognize both aspects as sort of surrender, but also empowerment from it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like emptying a murky cup full of stale water that's been sitting there for years and years and years and never been emptied, and nobody knows better. Once you start delving into that self-discovery work, trying to find what it actually means to exist and live life, you slowly start cleaning that cup, emptying that bad water bit by bit, and you
Mm-hmm.
start replacing it with good water, with happiness, with joy, with fulfillment, just by
That's it.
simply being and existing within this moment. It's as
That's
simple
it.
as that. We're not doing this
Satchitananda.
practice, yeah, we're not doing this practice to gain anything. We're doing it to get rid of things that we don't need. The more you
Mm-hmm.
get rid of, the more the truth can expand within your presence. And it's so difficult to explain to people. I wish people would just try and meditate for like a couple of weeks,
Yeah.
5 minutes a day. That's all it takes. Just focus on your breath. Honestly, it's
Seriously.
life changing. It is life
Mm-hmm.
changing.
Yeah, that's my goal with everything that I put out. It's like, hey man, this isn't about me. I'm just a reminder. Literally right now in this moment, I hope to serve just as a reminder for anybody listening, for you, Ailandas, if nobody else, to go back into yourself. That's it. You don't need anything on the screen here. You don't need me. Go back in, find some quiet time, put the phone down, and meditate. And it'll do so much more for your being, so much more benefit than anything from the screen could ever do for you. So I'm glad that you can recognize that. Because in that way, you're not creating a false idol out of yourself. There's a lot of phonies, I'm not going to lie, that try to directly or indirectly online say that, hey, you need me. You know, you need to buy my course in order to reach the next stage, yada, yada. No, you don't. You just need some quiet time. You just need to meditate, man. And I'm not saying anybody selling anything, any service, any spiritual uh, service or anything to help people in that regard. I'm not saying it's all bad, right? It's a time and a place. We all have different paths. But really, when it comes down to it, I feel as though, in the absolute sense, you don't need anything. I've never bought anything other than a book. Like, I don't know. I personally just like to be, as you said in the beginning, the signpost for people to go back within themselves. I think any true teacher is just bringing one back to oneself. Any true guru, not calling myself a guru, but any true guru just leads one to the Sadguru within. If not, I like to say run the other way because they're doing you a disservice. So yeah, kudos to you for saying that.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, I mean, it's so it's so easy to fake it, right? But then it's also
Yeah.
very easy for people that know what they're looking for to see that you're faking it, especially when it comes to mindfulness and spirituality. You cannot fake this. You cannot fake describe what it is, mindfulness and spirituality, even though it's so difficult to describe. But you cannot fake describe it. People
Mm-hmm.
will know that you're talking nonsense,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just gonna add to the all the bad stuff that's happening in the world. You're just gonna add
Oh
more to
yeah.
that unnecessary fluff. And like you said,
And
we're just signposts, and if people want to follow us, amazing. The more people listen to people that actually tell the truth and speak the truth about what life is, what to seek in your existence, the better this world will be. The more
amen.
things will get fixed, the happier everyone's gonna be. So
Yeah. Save yourself to save the world. That's what I like to say.
absolutely.
Good stuff. Damn, I don't even know where to go from here. I feel like that's a good note to wrap it up at, but we've only done this for what, 30 minutes now? Yeah, I don't want
Yeah.
to wrap it up, but I'm like, that's a good closing point. See, it's like ironic, right? It's ironic. It's somewhat a joke. How many times did we say you can't explain it? But yet we're on here talking about it. We're on this podcast, almost like clown in some sort of way. I see myself as a clown sometimes. Like, really, what am I trying to say, man? All you got to say is go within. So sometimes I laugh at myself in that regard because I don't know. I just hope to not be another distraction.
Yeah, I
That's
mean,
it.
sometimes when you talk about mindfulness and spirituality, it's not about saying something profound or something life changing. Just a simple statement that might mean nothing to you might
Mm,
be completely mind blowing and life changing to somebody else. Even if it's something completely basic and simple and maybe not
yeah,
even mindfulness or spirituality related. Something might click in somebody's mind from hearing it, and it might be completely, their life might be completely different.
that's true.
Like the video that I assume you found me by that video that I posted about meditation, because that
Mm-hmm.
video just took off completely
Yeah,
unexpectedly. And the amount of comments, all I've done, there was the first video kind of goes back to what you said, when you don't try, things happen as they are
yeah.
supposed to happen, right? It was the first video that I posted without any script, without trying. And things started happening, and the comments
Mm,
that I was seeing from people were absolutely mind blowing, how their lives changed. And to me, I didn't see anything profound. I didn't see anything mind blowing, anything crazy. I just shared my experience.
yeah,
But that just proves the point. Like, it doesn't have to be anything profound. People connect with people very intensely when it comes to speaking the truth and just trying to be you and
yeah.
help everyone, because everyone's one. We're all the same. We're all one.
That's good, man. I appreciate that. I think it's just about being authentic.
Yeah,
I think we all yearn for authenticity, firstly within ourselves, but also the others. I think it's just about being real, and there's a resonance in being real. And it's not even necessarily what you say. I think if you're just putting out some real stuff, I mean, not even putting out content, if you're just living real, there's a resonance. People will resonate with that. The thing is, you can't try to be real. You can't
yeah,
try to be authentic. It has
yeah,
to be natural. So there's a weird, yeah, there's a weird dance in there that you have to play with. That's pretty funny. The one video without a script worked. There's a message in there for you.
yeah. Absolutely. I stopped making scripts since. Yeah,
Yeah,
just talk to the camera and say what I feel like.
yeah,
Going back to the resonance thing that you said as well, the energy that people create when they start practicing mindfulness and spirituality can be infectious. We can produce so much energy just by being, if we can tap into the energy that surrounds us at all times.
mm-hmm,
Because, like I said before, everything is vibration, everything is energy, and you can tap into that through your practice, through alignment to being and to the self, to the presence, to the awareness, whatever you want to call it. You can have so much energy, so much so that that energy can flow out of you and infect others. And
Yep.
other people will have no choice but to try and follow the same path because they will feel attracted to it. They will feel the pull towards the practice of mindfulness and meditation and spirituality.
Mm-hmm.
It can be infectious, and that's another thing. It's kind of like a snowball effect.
Yep.
The more people start practicing it, they don't even have to talk about it. I talk about it because I feel like it's my calling. I feel like it's my duty within the span of my life, even though it's a blip in the grand scheme of things. But I want to share my experience and be a signpost, like I said, to inspire others to do the same thing. But if I can share my energy with others, inspire them to do the same thing, they might get to a point where they can share their energy with others, and those others can share their energy with more people, and it's just going to be a
Mm-hmm.
snowball effect, and it's just
That's
going to
it.
change more and more lives. And I think it's going to lead to our salvation. I think it's the way to
Yeah.
salvation.
Yep. It's inevitable. It's a pull toward the real. And it's like, it's inevitable because it is real. It's like, how much longer can we fake it?
Yeah. We try to fake it through external resources. I need to get validation from this person. I need to buy this thing. I need to build this thing. I need to do all these things externally, but nobody
I
even
need.
thinks about looking within. I
Yeah.
need, exactly, yeah. Nobody even thinks to look within. All the answers are within. Everything that
Yeah.
we need is within.
Yeah.
Everything, it's like you are what you feed your mind. If you feed your mind with external things, your mind's going to metabolize it and become those things.
Mm.
If you look within and stop feeding your mind with things that are not going to be beneficial for just simply being you, being who you truly are, it's going to be very difficult to disattach yourself from all this fluff, like I like to call all this
Mm-hmm.
unnecessary external stuff.
Mm. Yeah. It's a good point. I believe it comes from a lack of neediness. When you have that energy of neediness, nobody likes that. But you can feel it. There's something like the scarcity energy. There's
Yeah,
something like gross about it. But when you don't need anything, that's truly freeing. Like when you're around somebody that is truly free to be themselves and they don't need anything from you and you don't need anything from them, that's love, man. And that's very powerful. And that is how we change the world. When we don't need anything from each other, essentially, that's where that resonance comes from. Because when you start a relationship with the foundation of I need something from you, you're already off on the wrong foot. And I'm not even talking about like romantic relationships, all relationships,
yeah,
any kind of relationship that you have with anybody. If you need something, if you're starting off like I need something from you, that ain't right.
yeah. It's difficult to sustain a relationship when you are on kind of, I guess, different vibrational levels as well, because you're
Mm,
just gonna repel each other.
yeah.
You can try as much as you want. It's gonna be very difficult to make it work, I think. If
Mm,
you resonate with each other, if you're on the same vibrational level, you're into the same things, i.e., mindfulness and spirituality. If you're into those things, you will resonate like crazy. You will be
yeah.
inseparable, and you won't even have to try.
Yep.
It's like you said, you just feel it with people. Like sometimes you might walk into the room, this other person walks in, you've never seen them before, and you might be like, this person is amazing. I don't even know their name. I've never seen them before, but they're amazing. I can just feel it. Sometimes it might be the complete opposite. This person just walked in and all the color in my life disappeared. You know, it can be
Yeah.
completely opposite. So you can
Exactly.
tell. You can tell.
Yeah.
And you can tell even better the more you practice
Oh, exactly.
this sort of
Hmm.
thing. So
Yeah. An important point too, which I think we already talked about, is you don't need to make it grandiose. Like you don't have to have a podcast or write a book or do anything
yeah,
outwardly. This can be very simple. In the smallest moments, it can be very powerful. For instance, I was at the grocery store yesterday, and my cashier, it was this older lady, but she was just very warm, very welcoming. She was just She was just there with me. Like I was there with her. We were making jokes, just smiling, forgetting about the hustle and bustle of what was going on. Like we were just chill. There's something going on. She's just quote unquote a cashier, but she made my day. She made my week. I'm talking about it here with you, right? She left some kind of mark, that resonance. It did something to my being. So it doesn't, point of my story, it doesn't have to be this grandiose, I'm going to save the world type of thing. It's just natural. When you are centered, it's just natural in all endeavors, in all circumstances, in all relationships. It's just something that is just natural and reverberates. As you said, it reverberates, it spreads like some kind of good virus. I got it from that lady. She might have got it from somebody else. I'll give it to somebody else, give it to you, and then you give it to somebody else. And that's how we truly change the world. That's how love changes the world. Might sound a little corny, but it's the truth, y'all. That's how love changes the world. It's like it touches one person, and that one person touches five people, and those five people, and so forth. It's like a chain, right? It's beautiful.
Yeah, this is the kind of pandemic that we need.
Exactly. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this one, man. Switch it up a little bit. Do you have any other recommendations of things to incorporate in your life for good energy overall, other than meditation?
So there's only three things that I do um, every single day to become more mindful and spiritual. It doesn't have to be complicated. It's very, very simple. The essence, I believe the essence of mindfulness and spirituality work is making use of your tool and not being the tool of your mind, right? Which
Mm-hmm.
means when we have uncomfortable emotions, when we have uncomfortable events, don't get completely buried by them and push them aside. That's going to create blocks within your energy flow. You have to accept them non-judgmentally within the moment, observe them as they are, accept the fact that it's happening right now, and push them aside. So
Mm-hmm.
three ways I do it is, first of all, meditation. Like I said, I meditate twice a day. I meditate 45 minutes in the morning. I meditate 15 minutes as I'm going to sleep. I do a Isha Kriya meditation in the morning for 15 minutes, and then I simply go to feeling the energy flow within my body or simply feeling the breath for the next 30 minutes. And then in the evening, I also do Isha Kriya or I do a healing meditation, which is essentially a body scan. And you try and inhale good energy and you exhale the bad energy within a certain body part. The next thing I do is I simply try and keep a little bit of attention, a little bit of awareness to myself at every moment. I never give 100% to the external physical world, I guess you could say. Um, Obviously, I'm not this enlightened, ascended human, right? It's a lifelong practice. I'm very far from it. I'm not ashamed to admit it. I'm going to keep practicing because this is the essence of life. So I try and get better at it every single day by simply being present at every moment. And if some uncomfortable events or emotions arise, I like to imagine them as this sharp object that I grab. And if I'm non judgmental, if I accept it, the sharpness of it goes away. It's kind of like me sanding it down, right? It becomes nice and smooth, and then I can store it somewhere. It's not going to poke me, it's not going to hurt me, it's not going to create tension in my heart or in my stomach or in my head. It's just going to be as part of my experience,
Mm-hmm.
but it's the experience is not going to shape me, right? I'm not going
Mm-hmm.
to let that experience to shape me. I'm going to shape it the way I want it. I'm going to put it aside. So very long-winded way of saying I
Mm-hmm.
always try to keep a little bit of presence with myself. I never give 100% to the external world.
Mm-hmm.
And the third thing that I do is every single evening I journal. And I guess it's arguable if it's a mindfulness and spirituality practice, but the reason why I think it is because as you're practicing being present non-judgmental and accepting of life as is, the way it unfolds, situations might arise where you simply cannot accept that situation within the moment that it's happening.
Mm-hmm.
Those things can build up throughout the day, which is why journaling is so good. Because those things will sit in your head and you will keep repeating and going over them over and over and over again. Journaling allows you to dump them on a piece of paper, then non-judgmentally observe them,
Uh-huh.
accept them, close the journal, and put them aside.
I like that.
So only three things, that's all I do. It doesn't have to be complicated. And I feel
No.
like that covers every single basis for me, and it's been working well so far. The only thing that I really adjust is meditation as I'm getting better at it. So
Mm. Yeah. What stuck out for me in that explanation was how regimented you are. And I think that's very important because we all have different paths. Not everybody's going to journal. Not everybody's
yeah,
going to meditate, even though I would recommend it. But some people just, they're not into it. But I think what we can all relate on, most, if not all, is finding some sort of ritualistic, regimented practice. And however the practice comes about, we're creatures of habit. So I think the whole path, in one way or the other, is changing our habits, right? To
yeah,
align with a greater good, with a higher purpose. Get out of the addictions and bad habits and into good addictions, you could even say. Good attachments, if you want to even go there in a Buddhist sense.
yeah,
And it's all about being regimented, at least in the beginning, right? Until you become the master. I think you have to be regimented in some way. Reserve some time because it's so easy to get distracted. That's the
yeah,
thing. So it's like you kind of have to say, all right, at this time, I'm going to go journal. I'm going to go meditate. I'm going to play the guitar. I'm going to write. Whatever it is, it's about finding the time to do the right thing. And yeah, I think that's the most important part about what you said. Even though I think the whole journal point was good too, about how you can observe it, like you literally observe it in a future time. I like that. And you close the book. There's some symbolism in there that I think is important for the mind. You ever heard the idea of like, if you ever feel like disgruntled or discombobulated, just clean your house, right?
yeah,
And it does something for the mind. I think that's very similar in that regard. It's like you close the book and then you put it away. So
yeah,
yeah, it's all about the right practices. Point of my story. It's all about the right practices, and you illuminated that well.
yeah, absolutely. And we are to some degree creatures of habits, of kind of consistency, right? We need that sort of consistency in our life, be it through, if you want to meditate the whole day from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to bed, it's a habit, it's a consistent action. Or what I do, meditate in the morning, try to be present throughout the day, journal in the evening, and meditate as I'm going to sleep. It's still a consistent action. And
Mm-hmm.
one thing I think is that's important to know is in the beginning is going to be very difficult because you're trying to do something that's completely unexplainable and
Mm-hmm.
almost impossible to understand.
Yep.
Your mind is going to feel so uncomfortable. There's
Mm-hmm.
going to be a lot of discomfort. But there is a memory cycle that happens within your body. It's called cellular memory. And every 21 days it cycles. So if you can do something consistently for 21 days, your body physically will deem it as something that is necessary.
Mm.
So if somebody can do meditation for 21 days straight, just bite your teeth down and go through it. If you can just do it for 5 minutes every single day, it's going to become a lot easier. And once you start getting a glimpse of what is behind those walls of your ego that you've built out throughout those years, you will know that your life depends on it. Your life depends on these practices. I promise you.
Yeah. Mm. Now, would you recommend a teacher or a guide in the beginning? Because I would personally. That's how I learned. Is like I had to have um, a guide, somebody to guide me into meditation. to literally teach me the skill of meditation, because I think it's a skill like learning the guitar. It's better to have a teacher, right? Or anything for that regard. So would you recommend the same?
Yeah, I would. I absolutely agree that, especially when it's something so difficult to explain and describe, you can say to anybody, just sit down for 5 minutes, close your eyes, and all you do is focus on your inhale, exhale. But then there's other things like you need to try and observe your thoughts. You need to try and not become the thoughts. You need to try and
You did not
be
try.
aware of those thoughts. You need to try and not try. You need
Yeah.
to not expect anything. You need
Uh-huh.
to not look for anything. You need to have no goals. All these things, they just start coming up, and then you get frustrated and you get lost in the thought, and then you don't come back from the thought. And yeah, I I think having somebody there to explain how to do it and guide you, and especially in the beginning, is really really useful. And I
Mm-hmm.
think what happens as well with the guidance, if you get lost in the thought, uh, the app that I used personally was called Headspace when I was getting into
Me too.
meditation. Yeah, it's really good. I
Mm-hmm.
recommend it to everybody. It's really
Yeah.
good. I like the guided meditations that they do because when you begin, the meditations are usually shorter. The person that's guiding you, they speak often enough to remind you to come back from getting
Mm-hmm.
lost in thought.
Yep.
You can extend those sessions. I don't remember how long they can be, but you can extend them to be longer, and then the person doesn't speak as often. But I think it's really good. The guidance, the voice that you hear, just allows you to come back from that thought and be present again. It's really helpful. It's really good.
Yeah. Definitely. The guide serves as a reminder.
Yeah.
And think of the etymology of that. You're reminding yourself. That's all meditation is you're reminding. And it's like reworking the mental muscles. And I never heard that 21 days thing. I like that. Makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. I used to be a habit and productivity coach, so I know
Oh,
a little bit about
wow.
habits. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm preaching to
So
the choir then. So you know
uh,
definitely.
yeah.
Wow, that's cool. A habit and productivity coach. That definitely plays hand in hand with mindfulness. 100%. Like
Yeah,
mindfulness coaching.
it definitely helps with having a kind of like a planned out routine of how I want to do things
Mhm.
with this practice. Hence why I so religiously do these things every single day, because
Yeah.
I created these habits through certain
Mhm.
triggers and certain rewards, right? So
That's it, man.
it's really useful. It's really useful.
Yeah. And you know what, too? It's simple. It's quite simple. That's what it's all about, actually, is a great simplification of one's life.
Yeah.
It's like the mind may try to invent stories of overcomplicating the spiritual path, but it's actually all about simplifying your life. And it's so beautiful. Life becomes so beautiful when it's simple in that regard. When you can simplify it down, not needing anything. We do it to ourselves. I feel as though like it's just getting out of your own way, recognizing that there's nothing you need. These practices show us that there's really nothing that one needs. It's simple in that regard. I don't know.
Yeah.
You feel the simplicity, like a great simplification is found in your life. It's not only like cultivated, but you also find that life is really simple actually.
Yeah. I think that's what you kind of seek with the practice of mindfulness and spirituality. You do seek that simplicity. And that
Yeah.
simplicity comes through discomfort, through a lot of hard work and dedication. The more work you put in, the simpler it gets. And not just the practice, but life itself. Just
Mm.
existence becomes simple because things don't affect you as much. I can I've started noticing that smallest things, like for example, if I'm driving and somebody speeds past me in a very reckless way, I used to be like, oh, this absolute, I'm
Yep.
not gonna say the word,
Yep.
but now I just carry on driving.
Yeah.
That did it.
Patience.
Yeah, nothing happened. Nothing. That person is just. you cannot be mad at people that are not present enough.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like an ailment of the mind, right?
Yeah.
If you think about it, the way that chatter happens in our mind, it's constant, it's unrelenting, it's persistent. It's like being bedridden physically and being okay with it because that's the norm that you're used to. Constantly being ill, dragging your body across the floor to get to the bathroom. If we didn't know what a healthy body is, we would think that's normal. It's the same thing with the mind. That's, I think, what a lot of people don't understand. We think
Mm.
that this perpetual chatter in the mind is normal because it allows us to evaluate things, think in a certain way, go over the same things that are out of our control over and over again, try and predict the future, which is impossible. It just constantly goes and goes and goes and goes. But until you start practicing these things like spirituality and mindfulness, you won't understand that all of that is unnecessary
Yep.
because it prevents your mind from actually working the way it's supposed to work. You're just
Mm-hmm.
trying to make things manifest by thinking. It's not how things work.
Yeah.
You manifest things by not trying and by just being. The universe is unconditionally supportive. It's gonna
Yep.
give you what you need, what is destined for you.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna get what you are supposed to get. And the blessing is in disguise is the fact that everybody's destined greatness, happiness, and joy because the universe is unconditionally supportive. So if you stop trying, you will get everything that you ever wanted, which is happiness, joy, and fulfillment. Why would you
Mm.
choose anything else?
Exactly. Well said, man. Yeah, you'll get what you need, not necessarily what you want, or what the mind wants. The universe will
Exactly.
give one what one needs.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's ironic because you don't need anything. You only need to see that you don't need anything, that you don't need to do anything. It may seem like a contradiction in us playing some weird games with our words here, but I feel it. There's some truth in there,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
right?
It's so, it's so, I wish I could just, like do something like this and just transmit all of this to everybody in the world, just like
Yeah.
transmit everything. But
It's not that easy.
yeah, it's not that easy. It's not that
Yeah.
easy.
As you mentioned before, there is that sense of forgiveness that comes from this not needing, not trying, this great simplification, forgiveness to the others that aren't necessarily on this path, right? It's a sense of forgiveness for yourself and then to the others as well. And it's like understanding because you can't. That's actually the good news that no one can do it for you. That we all do it in our own time, in our own place, in our own circumstances.
Yeah.
Because when you do that, like say you try to evangelicalize it, you're creating another need. You're creating like this person needs to wake up. You can't be fake holy, as Ram Dass says.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
That's the worst.
That's why we are signposts and not people that tell people what to do. You
That's
cannot
it.
tell people what to do because if you tell them, they'll have a destination that they will want to achieve. That just
Yeah.
engages your mind, which is not what you want to do as you're trying to practice this.
Mm. Man. Keep it simple. Honestly, keep it simple.
Absolutely.
I think it's a good note to wrap this up at, though. I think we've exhausted everything that we could say, to
Yeah.
be honest with you. But do you have any last words before we wrap this thing up that you want to get off your chest?
Um, I, the only thing I would say is try and meditate for 21 days.
Yeah,
Try and meditate.
just
Honestly,
try it out.
all it is just 5 minutes every single day.
Yeah.
But what are you gonna lose? You're not gonna lose
Mm-hmm.
anything. It's just
Just the
five
ego.
minutes. Yeah, just try, honestly,
Yeah.
because the amount of times when somebody asks me, what do you do? and I say to them that I am a spirituality and mindfulness guide, and they look at me like, how is this person even sustaining themselves? It's
Yeah.
it is real. It's the essence of everything that exists. Spirituality is not just talking about spirits that exist and haunt us.
Yeah.
Spirituality is talking about the energy that flows within all of us, not just alive beings. Within this desk, within this laptop, within your headphones and my headphones, within ourselves. It flows within all of us. And meditation is the stepping stone, the first stepping stone that you need to step on to get a
Mm.
glimpse of what it is. And I promise you, like I said before, if you get a glimpse of that energy, of that spirit that's all around us, that's enveloping everything that exists, you will want to do it as if your life depends on it.
Amen. Just do it. That's how
Just do
you
it.
become a believer. You just simply have to do it. Do the practices, and then you'll know. And once you know, you're good to go.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you coming on here. I think this was an awesome talk, and I want to echo your words a little bit about spirituality and how important it is. It's not just talking about the ghosts, the spirits, the crystals, astrology, and things for that matter. It's not just like another hobby. It's like you come to find that this is what life is all about for all of us. It's not like you're the spiritual guy, we're the spiritual people. No, everybody is spiritual. If you even want to use spiritual, that's sort of a muddy term. But for lack of a better word,
Yeah.
everybody is on the spiritual path in one way or the other. So yeah, you come to find that this is what it's all about. And I thank you for reminding me and anybody listening that this is what life is all about, man. So that's it. Thank you very much for coming on here. And I wish you all the best, man. Seriously.
Thank you very much for having me. It's been absolutely amazing. I love this chat. It's
For
really
sure.
nice to speak with somebody that's very like-minded and have these conversations. It's awesome, man. Thank you for having me.
Definitely find the others. That's what I like to say. It's a huge
The
part
others, yes.
of my side, and I think everybody else's side as well. Anybody else that's on this path, find the others, find people that are on this wavelength, and there's something that aids in the path. This I don't know what it is. Like there's something about just being with good energy, even if it's through a screen. There's something just about connecting with the good people of the world. So yeah, find the others. You don't have to do a podcast. You can do it in your own life, and that'll help very much. So I feel the help at
Absolutely.
least. So thank you for helping me,
Yeah.
and
It's
keep
all
up the
right.
good work, man.
Thank you very much, and you too, man.
Peace and love to you. Peace
You
and love
too.
to everybody that listens. Goodbye.